Hello, my name is Kihew, Kihew, and I am a multifaceted artist connecting to my culture and the world around me through many different outlets such as sewing, writing, and visual art like acrylic painting. I definitely value the most the opportunities and the people that I get to meet along the journeys that I take in the opportunities that I get, like performing spoken word, selling paintings, getting to share art period has opened me to so many opportunities and people that I would have never gotten to if I wasn't so public with my art and my reconnection and who I am as a person. Reconnecting to my culture as an Indigenous artist and as an urban Indigenous youth has really given me a sense of identity and helped me in a lot of times when I did not have a sense of identity. It also definitely helped me build a name for myself and something that I can connect myself to and keep familiar and just be a part of me and my art in every way. I think the prompt was definitely growing up missing such a huge portion of that culture just because of colonization and the removal of that culture and the removal of that identity. And even though I was never per se introduced to it, it was missing, and a part of me knew that it was missing, and it caused such turmoil within myself. And a loss of identity is such an intense thing to reel with, and so reconnecting, especially through such therapeutic and healthy ways like art, is so beneficial and is especially in urban settings where unhealthy ways of coping are so accessible and so out there, and there is already such an epidemic with opioid use, especially with Indigenous youth, and the reconnection of culture really is beneficial a lot of times in, I don't want to say finding a better life, but finding a life that involves healing. My reintroduction, I guess, to culture, because I would truthfully say it is never a brand new thing to any Indigenous person. There is that blood memory, it is within you. And so that reintroduction for me started off really radical. I started it within my school because I go to Victoria School of the Arts downtown, and I had discovered that their past mascot was the Victoria Redmen. And my reconnection to that was very radical and when it started. And it started when there was the pipeline going through the unceded territory in the Wet'suwet'en with the Wet'suwet'en people. And we found out that teachers' pensions were funding the pipelines. So me and a group of other Indigenous students at Vic had organized a rally during an assembly where we interrupted the assembly and told the rest of the student body that their teachers' pensions were funding the pipeline that was effectively going to kill the land. And we followed it up with upholding the Enbridge Center, and we held space inside the Enbridge Center downtown for a couple hours, and that was honestly where it all kicked off. I got really heavy into the land back movement, and a part of me still loves how radical it was, and I miss it so much, and COVID definitely took a lot of that away, but that radical introduction is definitely what kicked me into such high gear. Is I started off with the introduction of the injustices and how I'm truly affected, and the people in my life and how they are truly affected. And these aren't just stories, and these aren't just fables. These are truths in people's lives, and like I said, that breaking of reality and showing the truth, because there can't be reconciliation if you don't tell the truth first. I know for me personally, going through a sweat and ceremony to get my name definitely helped me engage with my community because it gave me a better self sense of identity. So I knew better how to engage with people and how to connect with people on a deeper level. And it also helped me open up opportunities for other people. And since I had more knowledge, I could share that with other people or give them the tools to go and get that on their own or seek that out on their own. And having those opportunities for cultural practices is so important, and having them accessible is so important, because a lot of times people won't reach out for that because they're ashamed that they don't have that in their life or that they didn't grow up with that. And a lot of times people don't realize that it's not their fault that they didn't necessarily grow up with that, and that sometimes it's just about asking the right people or asking for help, or even just having those as community opportunities is huge, because it creates a safe space. So like I mentioned previously, getting my name was a huge thing for me. It was such a pivotal moment in my life, and added to that radicalism that I was so infatuated with, because it was so insane to me that I could take my name away. I could change that, and I could make that decision for myself. And I had that opportunity finally, and that now I could speak on that opportunity, and it was real, and it made everything real. I also like smudge occasionally and put down tobacco and little things like that throughout just like my daily life that I've incorporated into my daily life as much as I can. And in terms of things that I want to learn, I really want to learn how to dance. And how to make regalia. That is one of my biggest goals, is beading and regalia making, and then eventually learning how to dance, hopefully jingle, and fancy, and whatever else comes my way. I think something that's so important for non-Indigenous people to keep in mind is that not two Indigenous people are the same. Not everyone carries the same ideas or the same beliefs or the same values or the same teachings the same way. A lot of things vary in different ways, and it's not fair to hold everyone to the same standard, especially when we all come from such different places. Especially coming from like urban areas versus non-urban areas. I think it's also important to keep in mind that when Indigenous people are radical or causing movements or uprooting systems, it isn't a threat and it isn't violence. It is decolonization, and it is something that has to happen eventually. So why not now? And it is something that has kind of been needing to happen for a long time, and it is something that's so necessary to not only the health of Indigenous people, but of the land and the benefit of Mother Earth, because the society, environment, and the social climate that we live in currently is not sustainable. And so not being scared of change is definitely something to always keep in mind. First, I hope for healing for the current generation and the future generations, and for the past generations. I also really hope that there is more opportunities than there is now, because even though there are some opportunities now, there really is not a lot out there for Indigenous youth. Not that is public or accessible. And I think that there needs to be radical change for those things to happen. And so I think definitely more opportunities for Indigenous youth to learn and to reconnect is such a huge thing. I think just a reminder for youth to not be scared to use your voice, and to not be scared to make people listen to you, because a lot of times they won't unless you make them uncomfortable.